Proprietors of St. Augustine Preparatory School are expected before the court, and there's a live press conference. Let's listen in.
I had a meeting with one of the tea companies, Kericho Gold.
I have.
And they were thinking of expanding their factory here, but chose not to do it because of the environment in this city. And I think this tea auction is a barometer of how we must change the way we do things in Mombasa, and we must modernize. I'm with the MD of the EATTA, and I think he also has a few points to add on to this issue. But the most important thing, we cannot allow a business of 100 billion turnover to leave Mombasa. It would be an economic disaster for us.
On my part, as the Managing Director of East African Tea Trade Association, I would say Mombasa has been a conducive environment in terms of hosting the various companies. EATTA covers membership across the value chain, but the biggest part of the value chain is in Mombasa. We have the packers, we have the warehouses, brokers, and the exporters. We only have the producers upstream. So the core component really lies in Mombasa, and that shows the import of Mombasa as the largest tea auction in the world. The other component is clearly that most of the transactions, what makes Mombasa attractive is that the teas are sold through they're dollar denominated. So transactions up at the auction are all dollar denominated. And importantly, so again, we have the automation. What is taking place at the auction currently is live streamed. So all the producers, wherever they are able to make out what is taking place at the auction currently. So it is televised as we are discussing. But we're moving to another notch. This auction is moving toward to be automated. So in place of the broker hitting the hammer, we will have laptops. So the buyers will be able to press buttons to pick out the teas they require, spot on. So that will be the only shift. But in terms of presence, we still look at Mombasa as a preferred choice of doing business.
I'm looking at a time very quickly, immediately after elections, when we will set up our own free zone here and set up proper warehouses and work with industry to put up packaging companies that will manufacture packaging materials so that we can do our own value addition and our own packing here. It will be 10 times more value for the economy of Kenya. And today we're employing 50,000 employees in the tea industry. This number can rise to 500,000 once we start doing value addition right here in Mombasa. And all it requires is county government to cooperate with the national government to make sure that we put together the facilities that are required. And the financing is available. AFA has money to help in value addition. Trademark, as you can see, has contributed $1.5 million for the automation of this industry. I want to remind you that the Chicago Board of Trade was manual also at one time, similar to what is happening here. But as soon as they went automatic, the volumes shot up by more than 600% in the first year. So it is imperative that Mombasa looks at industries like this one, where we have a competitive advantage. 10 countries are selling their teas here. It's the largest tea auction in the world. This is something Mombasa has to be proud of. And now when we see even a suggestion of moving this auction out of here, it is alarm bells that the county government should have been jumping immediately to see what we need to do differently and to immediately arrest this potential economic loss that the city of Mombasa could face. I think we have a fantastic, unique, international operation here that we need to really focus on, capitalize and improve on it. And it is part of the Jubilee government's agenda to focus on value addition, and we will work on it. And Mombasa has to lead from the front. That's why I believe my visit to this auction today is so important. This is extremely important to the city of Mombasa and to Kenya in general. We cannot afford to lose this auction.
And maybe before we move to other topics, maybe the MD can explain to us the origin of this issue of the auction moving from Mombasa to other places and where exactly.
The motivation would be when we look at the SGR coming to Mombasa, it will now take a shorter time for any commodity to get to Mombasa, for one. Two, we are moving automation. Now, when we have automation, unless we have appropriate incentives in Mombasa, the teas may as well be purchased from any location. You don't have to be physically present within the auction to buy the teas. You can purchase it from the comfort of your office, from the comfort of your residence. But if they are conducive, we continue to have conducive and flourishing environment in terms of good infrastructure, for example, access to Shimanzi, access to the various places where we have warehouses, we have good, appropriate levies which are attractive. You see, a business person looks at also what does he get in turn from the county government. So this will motivate the players still to behold and be within Mombasa. So this is precisely where we are. And possibly we should be looking at something like a common user facility. You have a warehouse within that facility. You have parking facilities, machinery. If you cannot afford to buy your own equipment, what happens in places like in Dubai? You only hire, you say you have so much of quantities, and they will prepare for you the packaging material, and there you are, you only pick it on order. You can see that kind of facility. We would have many entrepreneurs who may not manage to buy that equipment, but they can get it on rental basis through such an agreed arrangement. So that is the way the county government needs to be looking at. That's the way we need to go. So I do believe with all these assurances given in terms of moving forward, we shall still continue to have this particular auction facility in Mombasa. All we need is that assurance of continued support and a favorable, conducive environment.
What are these forces behind this? What are these forces perhaps behind the plan to deny Mombasa this facility?
No. I think you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. Okay, Nick Munyi did not say that they are going to do this, but Nick Munyi in his speech, which I have here, just raised a very interesting point where he says, sticking to the theme of innovation, EATTA should ask itself critical questions. For example, with automation and the development of SGR, if there's a compelling reason why EATTA needs to continue being in Mombasa. It is just a suggestion. But to me, it's not just a suggestion, it's a serious warning bell that if we do not up our game, if Mombasa does not start creating competitive advantages, we will lose this market to Dubai. The DMCC in Dubai today already provides warehousing, it provides packaging equipment, it provides packaging materials, it enhances the facilities, the infrastructure facilities there. Traders are business people, they will go where the best environment is. Now I'm saying, for the first time, Mombasa has something that is world-class, that has a huge competitive advantage. We cannot allow it to leave Mombasa. We have to do whatever it takes to create the environment that we need to ensure this business does not leave Mombasa. We are going to compete with Dubai. We're going to outperform Dubai and make sure that tea stays here and our business stays here and increases and creates more employment. This is why I keep on talking about the free zone as the key economic driver for my policy for Mombasa. We'll work on it.
There has been a similar talk, especially on the issue of the port. We've had the current governor of Mombasa saying that there is a plan to move operations from the port to Naivasha. What is your stand on that particular issue?
The governor of Mombasa is playing politics on this issue. He understands this thing very well. 85% of our containers are not destined for Mombasa. They're destined for Nairobi and out of the country. So whether those containers are in Mombasa or they're in Eldoret or they're in Kisumu makes very little difference to our economy. What really matters to this economy is that we have a port that is underperforming when compared to ports like Dubai, like Singapore, like all that, simply because we do not have the free zone that creates a competitive advantage to any port. That's where we need to focus on, not where our containers are going. We already have inland container depots in Nairobi, in Kisumu, in Eldoret. He's never made it an issue. He's trying to turn politics out of an issue that is purely economic.
Let's talk about a bit of politics.
I knew you'd come to that.
And my question will be twofold. One question will be, what are your reactions regarding President Uhuru Kenyatta snubbing yesterday's presidential debate, because it's a matter of national interest? Could you be knowing the reasons perhaps? And then the second question is, there was an alleged meeting between you and two other governorship aspirants, that is Hassan Omar and also Awiti Bol of VDP. Is it that you're planning a pact ahead of the elections perhaps?
Number one, there was no meeting. The last time that Awiti, Hassan Omar and I met was in 2013 when all of us were in the same party. We have not met. I was equally surprised to see that, that statement. And second, there is no need for any pact. This is a competition. We have nothing to discuss with each other. Toktana Kodebe. And as far as I'm concerned, it's a two-horse race. Jubilee against Joho. And we're winning this race. Second thing, this issue about the presidential debate. I didn't see anything new that Raila was saying in yesterday's. It became a press statement, not even a debate, because he was there by himself and a few other runners. I frankly didn't see the need to have a debate with so many people unnecessarily there. There was no point to it.
Maybe the final question. Finally, we have seen your billboards along the streets of Mombasa. Has that issue been resolved?
Well, the issue was resolved simply because we went to the press and said Mombasa has become a mafia state, which is what it has become. And I think Magnet bowed down to pressure, but at what cost? I mean, Joho has taken every single good site in Mombasa and plastered his face all over the place. So yes, it's been resolved, but it has not been resolved to our satisfaction. But like I keep saying, billboards don't vote. People vote. The people of Mombasa will decide. And the people of Mombasa will decide on issues that matter, like this tea auction. This is such an important thing, and I can't believe that the county government of Mombasa would not even blink when such a major issue is about to happen here. That's what we need to focus on. That's what the people of Mombasa need to focus on, not billboards. Let the people decide. Thank you.
Thank you. That has been the Jubilee gubernatorial candidate here in Mombasa, Suleiman Shahbal, addressing members of the press after visiting the East African Tea Trade Auction here, which is based here in Mombasa. It's an auction that serves more than 10 African countries, and there had been suggestions that the auction would be moved from Mombasa simply because it has been automated, and there is now the standard gauge railway, which has sort of shortened the journey from between Nairobi and Mombasa. He also spoke about the issue of the presidential debate yesterday, where President Uhuru Kenyatta did not show up. He's saying that there is nothing new that Raila Odinga said, and he sort of defended the president. And he's also spoken about an issue. There have been pictures circulating in social media showing Suleiman Shahbal, Hassan Omar, and Hezron Awiti, who are all seeking to be the next governor of Mombasa County. But he's clarified that that photo was taken in 2013 when all of them were in the Wiper Party, and of course all of them were seeking different seats under that particular party. And also finally he spoke about billboards. He's been allowed to put up billboards in different parts of Mombasa County. It had been a big issue a few weeks ago when he himself, Hezron Awiti and Hassan Omar, claimed that they had not been allowed to set up billboards here in Mombasa County, but that issue now appears to have been resolved. For now, back to studio for more news.